Timeline indicates the length of your video, and timeline can go as long as 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours, as long as your media file is still moving, or you are adding new media file to increase the number of time you have in your final project. So you see movies which have 1 hour, 2 hours, Indian movie, you see some 3 hours almost, you see 2 minutes, you see 30 seconds, they all work on the same timeline. So the timeline is a time indicator for you as an editor to know the length of your video file. You know, with TikTok, the maximum you can go is 10 minutes, and the short videos is less than 1 minute or 1 minute. So as an editor, for you to know that your video or your media file is 1 minute, and then you want to use it for TikTok or you want to use it for YouTube Shorts, you have to make sure you show it on your timeline. So on your timeline, if it's 1 minute, your final video is going to be 1 minute. That's the purpose of the timeline. It also allows you to add multiple media files to make your work so easy. So now I have this on my timeline. In case I want to add any new thing to my timeline, I just have to go to the point that I want to add. I'll mark in, mark out, and I need the video only this time. So I'll drag the video only to my timeline. So you click and hold, you drag it, you leave it, and then I have my video only on my timeline. So if I play this, this is what you are supposed to see. But the moment I put that on top of it, this is what I'm seeing. So it's an overlay. In video editing, your timeline, you can put something on top of what you have. But the moment you put something on top of what is already there, you are telling that the editor should ignore what is below something and play what is above it. But there are ways for you to know what should show at a particular point in time and what should go off at a particular point in time. And that brings us to this eyes and then the M signs you see here. You can see we have vein 1 and then A1. The vein column has to do with videos, it's for visuals. And then the A column has to do with audio. So you can't move audio to the vein column and you can't move video to the A column. It doesn't work that way. So this a vein2 file because I place it on vein2. This on vein1. In case I want to move the vein2 visual, which is video only, to audio 3, which is A3, I'll drag and you can see it's not moving. The moment my mouse moves to that section, it shows the error sign. But the moment I move this up, you can see the video following the mouse. That means the editor recognizes video file in the vein column and then audio file in A column. And that's how your timeline works. That's how the timeline works. If you are new in video editing and you install Adobe Premiere Pro as new person, you should look out for this snap in timeline. Sometimes it's off, but if it's on, you can leave it like that. But if it's off, make sure you switch it on. The purpose of that snap in timeline is for you to snap your video to the other end of your previous video. So I have this video here. I want to join the video. For me not to get space between the video, the purpose of the snap in timeline is needed here. So the moment I switch it on and I drag this video to the end, you see that my video is showing an arrow drop down sign that indicate that it's snapping to each other. It's like a magnet. So the moment I release it, that means it's intact. There's no space within it. Don't forget, Adobe Premiere Pro timeline do not close any gap you leave on your timeline as far as there's a media file ahead of it. So in case I decide to cut this section from my file, And I'm like, okay, Adobe will close the file if I'm exporting, so that when it gets to this part that is dark, to close it up, and then it will export the final work. Adobe Premiere Pro will never do that for you. So you have to make sure you do not have black space within your project, because if you do, and it's not an effect you want to add as part of your final project, it's going to be part of your final project. So to do that, you can right click between the two media file and then you click on repo delete, or you can do the snap in timeline and then you release your mouse. You click and hold, drag it, release your mouse, and then you've joined two videos together. Now we have our video active, but there are ways that you can switch a particular column on your timeline off. And that brings us to this I and then the M, which I mentioned previously. The I indicates the visuals that is active, and the M, which the color is so white, indicate that your audios are also active. But in case I want to switch off a video on a particular column, which is VN1, so you can see this column all the way till 10 hours, 20 hours is VN1. So the moment I click on the I, you see that they will cross the I with a line that indicate that I switch off that column, and anything you put on that column is not going to be part of your final project. So anything you put on your column that you switch the I off indicate that that line is not going to be part of your final project. So you should keep that in mind. Anything you have on A1 and you click on the M sign, it also tells you that anything on the M column or A1 column that have the M switch on is going to be mute throughout your project. So in case you are doing something and you forget and you switch off the I and then you don't switch it on and then you export your video, that particular column, anything on it is not going to show. And it's going to export the same black scene you can see on our program monitor for you as an editor. That's one thing you should know. Aside this, you should know that there are sections of icons here that you should be able to add it as part of your editing or adding anything on your timeline. And that includes the selection tool. You can see all this while our mouse is in the normal default mouse icon, which is the selection tool. There's one icon I would like to show you, which is the remix tool. The remix tool allows you to remix your audio, which that has to do with sound effect, background song. It allows you to remix it. So imagine you have 2-minute video or 5-minute documentary and your music or background song is 2 minutes. You can drag by selecting that remix tool, and you can see I clicked and hold, and then it showed all the icons I have under that, and I selected the remix tool. So you go to the audio section and it works with only audio. You go to the audio section, you select, click and hold, and you drag it to the point that you want it to remix to. So you see it's saying clip analysis. So it will analyze the audio and then make sure the audio fits the length to which you stretch it to. And then it will cut an appropriate portion for the mix to be so nice and smooth. That's the purpose of the remix tool. I'll take you to the razor tool as well. It allows you to cut your video. So if you select the razor tool, let's switch on our video. Let's get to this point. You can see it has changed to a blade form. So I can click, hit on V on my keyboard, which is selection tool. You can select it and hit on delete, and I'll be able to delete the video file within. So the razor tool goes with the shortcut C, and if I click on C on my keyboard, you see that my mouse on the timeline will change, and it's only on the timeline. The moment I move it to the program monitor, You see it's different. But the moment I move it within the space of the timeline, it changed to a razor 2. Now let me go back to selection 2. And now let's look at text or type 2. And it go with I as a shortcut. It allows you to add text to your videos. And now in the course of our project, which is editing, you will learn how to add text, lower third, someone's name and their title in a video file or in a documentary. So now I have my text 2 selected or type 2 selected. I have to click any portion of the program monitor, only the program monitor. And the moment I do that, it's going to give me the opportunity for me to type something IDMC 2024. So I'm able to type something on my program monitor. And it allows you to do that on the program monitor because this tool works with the timeline. And then it allows you to do something for your final project, not for you to preview it. Because any changes you want to do, you can do it on the program monitor before you even export your video. So that's the type 2 for you as well. So basically, this some of the things that you need to know about the 4 main sections of Adobe Premiere Pro interface, which has to do with the program tab, the source monitor, the program monitor, and then the timeline. Basically, that's all you need to know. If you look at the lower part, it's called timeline zoom. It allows you to zoom in and zoom out of your timeline. So if you have 9 hours video editing, you can zoom in and zoom out. You can zoom in into details and you see every second of your timeline, and we call it frame rate. So you can see every second of your timeline, and then you can edit or cut something from it. One thing you should keep in mind is video have their own length. Even if you recorded 20-minute video, you should remember that you can't extend the 20-minute video to 50 minutes. But in case you do graphics, which has to do with the title I did here, that you can stretch it as long as you want. If it's image, it has its own length. You can't stretch it. You just have to duplicate it for it to show more as slideshows. So that's how the timeline works, and that's how our interface works. This part of our interface has to do with the tools, which I will take you through for you to understand how you can make use of the tools as a video editor. So basically, this is the interface. You may see different interface from the previous lesson to this one. But from the previous lesson, I mentioned to you that our interface is different based on the machine we are using. So now I've switched on to a laptop, and this is the interface I'm seeing. But it's basically the same. It has the same features, but just that where it's being placed have been changed at a particular point in time. So basically, this is the interface for you, and this is what the timeline does for you as an editor.